Joe.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, Keith. Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
I think you're muted, Dan.
Yes. Joe.
There's Greg.
Hey,
Am I
Greg.
sideways?
We're here.
Okay. I got my
Am I
audio.
sideways?
Chris is sideways.
Oh,
Come on,
shit.
Chris.
Okay.
Come
How
on.
do I fix that?
Get it right, brother. I love you.
You gotta be tough, brother.
Hey, we got you now.
Dan.
Dan's
Hi.
on you.
Hey, what's up again?
Hey, guys.
Dan is here.
How we doing, Joe? Chris?
Dan,
Greg?
Dan.
Hey, how was the show, man?
Dan. What's
It was
up?
good. Show was good.
That was a
Yeah.
benefit show, right?
You know what? It was a remembrance, a celebration of life. Well, lives, I should say, because it was originally for a friend, Steve Ferrigno, and it multiplied, into Johnny Zazula, obviously, and then
Yep.
a friend of ours, Wilbur Jennings, that passed away too. Like it was like shit, man. So
You
yeah.
know, small world again, Dan. But Steve played in a band like years ago with a buddy of mine, Chris Eichhorn. I can't remember the name of the band now. This
Called
was like,
Death Mask.
I don't think it was that. It was like it was ages ago.
Yeah, I was given a CD actually. Hold on, I was given a CD of his.
Chris did an
And-
album called Pure Sweet Hell with Jeff Loomis. He's done a lot of different projects, Chris, but he did a thing with Steve. I think he was still in high school when he was doing that project with Steve, but I knew Steve from like all those years ago.
Oh, that's super cool, man.
I saw them live when I was a kid.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
So it's such a small, metal world is such a small world, you know.
It is tiny, man. It's like minuscule. For real. I feel like my lighting is fucking weird in here, man. Let me turn my light up a little bit. Hold on here. Oh man, you know what? Too? Glare. There's a fucking glare from the light. You scoot over.
Dan, you're fucking awesome, dude.
Oh, I'm also fucking stoned, dude. So I just smoked.
Yes.
I just smoked some weed fucking about 2 minutes ago.
You're right where you need to
You
be,
look
my
fucking
friend.
delicious.
I smoke a lot of
Dude,
weed, man. Just so you guys
I've been
know.
jamming on
I
brand
smoke
new.
a lot
Right?
of weed. I'm always smoking fucking weed. You know. So forgive me, because
Nope. Spark it up, baby. Do what you do.
always smoking fucking weed, buddy. So
Where's where's George, man?
George is
Where
right there,
is
man.
George? Where is
What?
George?
George is here.
I don't know.
What?
Where's George?
I see George. George is right here.
He's here?
George is right there. You don't see him?
I didn't
No.
see him. Oh yeah.
Right
I have
here.
not seen him yet.
I hear
I'm right here.
I
see
hear
him.
Corky's voice.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
Corky.
There he is. George,
up, buddy?
George, George,
I'm gonna
Chris,
see George.
George, Joe, Dan.
Yeah.
We're all here.
Love you guys. You guys are great.
Chris, where's Chris? Is he hugging stuffed animals?
Hey, I'm here,
He is.
baby.
That's what he does.
If you scoot your screen over one, it
Yeah,
looks
I
like
did.
a fucked up Brady Bunch.
Yeah, but I don't see
See all of
Chris.
us.
Yeah, I
Are
can.
you
I can
seeing me?
all six.
I
of
see
them.
Chris. I see Keith. I see Greg. And I don't. Maybe you scooted over one more. Wait. Let's see. Now I got Dan and you. If I scooted over one more,
Oh, you
so it doesn't fit everybody in my screen.
got
I
you.
don't
I'm
know.
not speaking to anybody. You guys just keep coming to me in segments. Like I get George for a minute, and then I see Chris.
What's up, Keith?
George, turn your
I'm
phone.
the same way.
How are you?
All right, man. Listen, I
Oh,
talk to
there
these
he
guys all
is.
the time. I don't need to talk to them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, here we go. What's up, Keith? How are you?
Good. So
Good,
how are you
bro.
guys today?
Yeah, we're doing
Great.
good.
We're good, man.
Doing well, brother.
But the weather sucks here, though. Where are you, Keith?
Oh, I'm from India, Joe.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Very,
Really?
very cool.
Indiana. That's crazy. Did you say Indiana?
No, India.
No, bro.
Oh,
India,
sorry.
man.
India.
I thought I was the one that was
Sorry.
smoking pot, bro. Where you at, Greg? Silly
I'm
guy.
like White Claw. Right here, the White Claw
Got
world,
White
baby.
Claws in. Got one close in.
We're a little shout
Wait
out.
for all
You have to
world.
forgive us, buddy.
Who knew?
Good
Oh, I
morning.
don't know.
Well, I'll
Good
tell
morning.
you what, man. Today
morning.
I'm coming to you from the North Pole. And
What do
friendly.
you have for us?
I got a little friendly friend. Say hello.
You're gonna have
It's a
different
good day
friend
at the North Pole here. Hello.
every interview. It's gonna be a different friend. I love it. Yeah, I can't to see what the next one's gonna be. It's gonna be
He
awesome.
helps you catch fish, right, Chris?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
How you
I
live?
a little bit of halibut and salmon and octopus. I got octopus for the drums,
Right.
and it's good, man. It's been a good day on the drums.
He's a
Nice.
cute little guy. What's his name?
His name is Fartum Scatalicious.
Love it.
The
It doesn't
second-
get better than that.
What time is it in India right now?
Oh, it's 5:30 in the morning.
Oh my God.
What?
Oh my God. And I even said good morning. How did I know?
Crazy.
Are you on one of these right now?
What
Hey.
the fuck is that?
He's got a mini.
Keith,
Yeah.
you
It's a
should have made
surfboard.
it easy on yourself, brother. You should have set us up for 5:30 in the morning, and you could be like sleeping in.
Oh, that's totally fine. I'm fine with that.
All right.
Thanks for having us, man.
No doubt. Let's get with it.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Chris gets
So
You're
guys,
too much.
can we get started?
Sure.
Let's
Sure.
go.
Anytime
Whenever
you're
guys,
ready, man.
Anytime
We're
you're
ready to
ready.
rock.
I love this.
Wonderful. So guys, Fadomski, your new single was out earlier in April. So can you tell me a bit about the songwriting and production behind this new single?
Joe.
All right. Who wants to handle this one?
Fartum Scatalicious.
All right.
I think
No,
Joe
no.
or George will start off.
Knowing Destiny, I mean, I still to this day don't know what the Fatum Scatalicious. I don't know what that means. But
Bad inside.
it's knowing your destiny. So
Adam, yes, I am.
it's a song that Greg and George started working on over a year ago, and started bouncing the tracks back and forth, and ultimately we ended up probably the most recent thing is getting Chris on board on drums, and we had like the whole song done, and really didn't have actual acoustic drums on there. It was all programmed drums that George did, because George is like this amazing producer, like he does everything with all his projects. So
Yeah, I do what I do.
What's that?
I said, hey, I do what I do. I don't know.
He does, man.
Hell yeah, he's like a Renaissance man.
Yeah, so George and Greg, they had a mutual friend that I guess knew Chris, and they reached out to Chris and said, hey, we have this project, we've been writing some songs, and would you have any interest in it? And sent it to Chris, and like he loved it, and he re-recorded all the drums, and it was just amazing. And then Dan came in with Jay, who Jay's not going to be on the call tonight, Greg, or is he?
No, I think he's on the next one. He'll be on the next one. Right? Is that right, George? I mean, I
In the
talked to
email.
Jay. Huh?
I did send him the email. So
Yeah, I spoke with Jay tonight. He said that he would be invited to the next one. We invite him to everyone, but he can only be, there at certain times. So he'll be on the next one.
So
Gotcha.
Jay and Dan did the vocals, but I wasn't sure did they both write the lyrics? I don't even know.
no, Jay was pretty much the sole lyric writer. I think, again,
Right.
Yes, he was.
we were actually, we reached out to Jay first to do the vocals for this track. And then, I was talking to Dan. Dan and I were, are in a band called Negative Sky together as well. And, me personally, I just felt like Dan and Jay, we'd be kind of kicking around this idea of getting these guys together and doing a track together. And, I was just like, after, some of the vocals were done, I was like, man, I really want to reach out to Dan here and see if we can get him on the track too. And because, like I said, being in Negative Sky with Danny, I spent a lot of time with him. So I just really felt like this track, really could use Dan's vocals on it. And it had something in it which inspired me to say, hey man, I can really just hear Dan doing this part here, And so I reached out to Dan and I was like, Dan, I got this track, bro. I really, want to sing on it. And he told me to go screw myself. And I was like, please. You got any coupons for,
Coupons?
A few coupons. I'll give you a few coupons for Dunkin' Donuts. And so, yeah, I got a cup of Joe and some donuts. And came over and sang it up. It just felt like a perfect mix for these guys to really collaborate on and really, mix. As I guess as the guy who produces this stuff, and it's just like sometimes you have visions, of what artists you see doing what, and when Greg and I really, first started collaborating on this project, it was really just Greg, and I wasn't really, I was just going to produce it for him, as far as being in the band, this was Greg's deal, so, we're going back to square one, before it was just, Greg, and then it was me and Greg, and then me, Greg, and Joe, and then me, Greg, Joe, and Chris, and it's kind of like it started growing legs, this thing, you know what I mean, as far as internally, you know what I mean, with us. And
yeah, they got me involved using a Groupon, so
yeah,
that's how I came into the.
Yeah,
I was just hanging out playing drums one day, and this Groupon showed up, and hey, not now. And so it was, it just worked out. It was chemistry, man.
Yeah,
we got
Fiverr.
It was really a passion project of Greg's. He had all this material that he wanted to get out there, and he really just went to George and was like, "Hey, I'd like to collaborate on this music I have, and would you produce it?" And George loved Greg's material, and they put it all together, and it started sounding great. But then they're like, they knew me from the Disciples of Verity album, the debut album. Greg and I both played on that album, so we all kind of knew each other from there. And we actually did meet in person together once. But in all honesty, we've never all been in the same room at the same time. This whole project has been like a studio project that we've done remotely. And we did it all throughout COVID, so everybody was shut down and we couldn't do anything. So we just basically wrote all this music and did it remotely and just swapped tracks back and forth. And it just kept building and getting better and better. And Greg and George, and then me, then we had Chris, and now Dan with his vocals and Jay. It's it just turned into something that we didn't expect. It was really just initially, like I said, a passion project that we just wanted to have fun and write some songs, but people have been really digging it. It's just been taking off. So
amazing.
What he said, right? Greg,
it's breaking up. Yeah, what's up, George? What's up?
I said, like what he said, right?
Yeah, but absolutely what he said, but not the opposite, but totally the way.
Yeah,
it's the Bible. It's the way.
The stars align too, because Chris is an LA guy, man. He wasn't an East Coaster. We're all East Coast guys, New York and New Jersey. And then, I guess Chris will tell his story, but he ends up moving from LA to New York, maybe about an hour and a half north of where I am. And so now we're all East Coast based. So it makes it that we actually could probably now, and we're talking about it, being that everything is starting to really have a lot of success and people are really liking it, that we might actually start doing some live shows. That's the goal now too. So
that's the goal.
Yeah. So
that would be it.
Like this, this passion project studio remote project is now turning into like a full-fledged band that we're hoping to do shows once the whole album is done,
I can't wait. I think it would be the best thing ever. I mean, let's all hang out before that happens, and we'll get there as we go. I mean, I would love just to get into the same room with everybody here. I mean, Dan and George, I've known those guys for 20 years, but you guys, I feel like I've known you for 40 years, man. It just feels well. It feels great. You guys are my brothers, man. I love it.
Chris, how long have you been in New York now?
Year and a half.
Yeah, so it's only a year and a half, and that's really when we started working on this stuff. So it was like like the stars just aligned that we ended up getting him now too. It's just it's
absolutely
crazy how everything worked out.
I totally agree with that, man. That's huge.
Yeah,
it's gonna work out. Let's keep having fun.
Knowing your destiny, man. It was all about fate, right?
Yeah, it's almost as huge as Greg's hair, almost.
Or his beard.
His beard. Yeah. Tell me he doesn't got the best rock star hair.
He does. Well, you do too, though, George. Come on.
Dude, George, come on, man. You do, man.
I have the rock star hair like Greg.
Yeah.
I cannot do that. I've got a mohawk. Yeah.
I'm gonna fix it. Hold on.
What are you gonna do? Bang! I'll just
see you bang your hair, Keith. Come on.
Keith. Now every song was
Keith.
we all started every song on this guitar right here.
That's where the first riffs came from, right there. That guitar.
Excellent. Yeah. Look at George with the glasses.
It's a real guitar. Just my hands are big.
Oh yeah.
Keith, do you play an instrument or anything? Or?
Oh, I do play a bit of guitar.
Nice. The best. You play the best instrument, huh? There you go. That's it. There's nothing better.
No. Agreed. I agree.
I mean,
I
got
totally
nothing to say.
No.
I got nothing to say. Look, I play them both. Okay.
He does.
Play them all.
Play them all.
You're the right man.
I haven't played a keyboard.
I love how you write the notes on the keyboard.
Hey, because I suck at it.
Yes.
Because I suck at it. That's why.
He writes them down like with an eyeliner pen, like a Sharpie eyeliner. Yeah.
You should fretboard at a guitar.
Hysterical, man.
I do that on my drums. I have my drums. I write out the notes. Yeah. Just so I know what I'm hitting.
Chris, on a serious note, Nolly Getgood, he actually tunes his snares when he's producing to the so what's your take on that? What do you feel about that?
You know what? I think it's honestly whatever works. And so Periphery being one of my favorite bands ever, when I saw them live, and of course Matt Halpern is, one of the best drummers in the world. His drums always sound impeccable, and it's they do such a good job with those drums. I really believe that it's just whatever the situation is. So having recorded for years, whenever I'm doing a session, I listen to the reference track, and I'm not necessarily trying to tune to it. I'm sort of trying to capture the vibe of the song in tuning the drums. So I generally like to have my stuff as loose as I can get away with it, because I just get that much more tone and warmth and body out of the drums. But there are those cases where I, crank everything down super tight and it just works. But yeah, anyway, to answer your question though, man, I'm not necessarily trying to capture a certain note or something like that. I sort of get the feel of what the song wants, and then also what each drum wants, like where they sound best. Gotcha. And some DW makes drums where they actually stamp the inside of the shell to a certain note, to each note where they feel that it should be tuned. And I bought a DW kit, and I tuned the drums exactly to those notes, and it sounded so bad I couldn't believe it.
So the exact
and I was like, and it was horrible, And so the other thing is, it depends on, the temperature in the room. It depends on what heads you're using. Are you using clear, using coated, etc.? So yeah, so those guys being amazing at what they do are sitting there in a very controlled environment, and they can really make the drums sound amazing the way that they do it. The way that I do it, I'm just some dude doing the best I can.
Well, you know, here's what I get out of that. I mean, it's more or less like relative humidity factor or RH factor would determine whether or not how you would actually come up or invent your own drum kit or style, sound, or tone.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's
normally and ultimately right before I hit record, I ask him, and I'm like, hey, little buddy, what do you think of those tones? And then it's like, yeah, yes or no. I get either yeah or no.
Chris, he looks like he's sleeping.
Yeah,
like
but
his eyes are shut, man. He looks.
Yeah, you have to wake
Cool
them
thing
up.
Hey, after that long bullshit that I just gave you, wouldn't you be sleeping too?
Chris actually tunes with a halibut, and then when he's done tuning with the halibut, he feeds it to the polar bear.
Yes.
So it's like
And then during playback, I have my pet salmon, and we're just, that's all I can do, man.
You're in sync.
Yeah.
You're together.
I'm in sync with the fishes. Hey, George, where'd you go, buddy? Oh, there you are. Hi.
I got a phone call for a second there, pal.
Oh, was it the tuning police telling you my drums aren't tuned right?
No.
Okay.
It was
Keith, going
my
back
Uncle Carmine.
Keith, where do we find your socials, like your page and everything? Like where do we find?
Yeah.
Oh, the website is mhf-mag.com.
Sorry, you cut out for a second. What was it?
It's mhf-mag.com. I can send the link here in this chat.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Very good. Okay, cool.
Heavy metal forever, baby.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, you know,
I always sign my thing metal and then the number 4 and then ever and an exclamation point, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Keith.
Oh, that's not the right one. That something is messing up.
All right.
Yeah, that's the one.
Ah, okay.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions for us, Keith? Did we answer?
Yeah. So how is the album coming up for you? So is there any works behind the scene? So do you plan to make an album by end of this year or something?
Actually, we do. We are in the middle of recording a few more. We have a few in the can per se, ready to go.
And he doesn't mean like we have them ready to go. It means they're in the bathroom.
Right. Yeah.
They're in the can.
Well, that's where I keep them. So, because that, the RH factor.
relative humidity.
Well, we do have to tune the flush of the toilet bowl to A flat. So
Yeah.
It's a humidor.
and it works all right. Yeah.
Well, what I did was I wrote the notes on the toilet bowl so that like I go up there with a mic sometimes, flushy, F sharp for flushy. Anyway, so yeah, I mean we got a few. We have a few songs already written musically. We are working on more material as we speak. This project, like we were talking about before, was more of a passion project, like Joe said. You know what I mean? And it wasn't really supposed to be a band. We were kind of just, as they say, throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks, and ended up being bigger than I think we expected it to be. We just wanted to do it for fun, because we all have prospective projects that we're in or doing or whatever. And I think it wasn't really meant to be, a full band with a live situation. It was just, we were just writing some really awesome material, and it just turned in way more awesome than we thought, and turned into that. So that being said, there really wasn't an album planned, but I think as things have progressed, we're at the point where, yeah, now we want to do a record, now we want to finish an album. So I would say that the album definitely will be done before the end of the year. I'm trying to finish up a few things with Disciples of Verity at the moment, but my schedule will be clear shortly. And at least, that depends on Glover, of course, but which is always sorry, Glover.
Everybody's busy.
But so as soon as that clears up, I think we'll probably go a little bit more full force at it. I think Greg and I will probably get together this week.
Yep.
And work on some things. But like I said, I think it, once we start going, it's going to be a lot faster than, because, the beauty of this situation is that we don't all have to get together, right? Joe has a studio at his house. Chris has a studio at his house, Dan and Greg are close enough to me where they can come here, so we don't really have to, it's like, it goes a lot faster that way. We don't have to sit in a room and, 5 guys yelling at each other. No, play this. No, what about this idea? What about that idea? We don't have to do that, Joe tries his ideas at home. Chris tries his ideas at home, and then they send it back. And if things need to be discussed, we discuss them. And then they do, but they are able to work their part out at their leisure, which I think is super beneficial. It doesn't have to be 5 guys trying to work their part out all simultaneously in the same room. It can be an individual thing. And, I think the beauty of the project too is that, since it wasn't really intended to be a band and we weren't really, looking to get that crazy about it, there's a lot of beauty in that. And what I mean by that is that, nobody's up each other's butt, you know what I mean? Like, we're not trying to recreate the wheel in front of one another, I mean, the wheel's working. Joe's got his wheel, it's awesome. Chris got his wheel, it's awesome. Greg got his wheel, it's awesome. You know what I mean? We don't have to try to just make everybody do what we want them to do. They're all talented musicians. Everybody has a skilled, at their craft, and they do it at their leisure, and it's awesome usually. There's not really much that has to be said. You send it back, it's fuck, I love it. It's great.
We found a formula that worked where really just everything starts with George and Greg, and they get the whole foundation done. They get the whole song structure done, the rhythm guitar tracks, the bass tracks, kind of a basic idea on the drums, with programming. And then they send it off to me and Chris, and then we put our stamp on it, send it back. And it's just a formula that's worked because we all have our roles, and we understand what our roles are in the project. And there's like no egos, because this was always just created for fun. And like we have the next song that we're going to have coming out after this single. I remember this distinctly. It was like a year ago. I'm sitting on my couch watching TV at night, and George and Greg like texted me like, "Yeah, we're working on something." So I go, "Send it to me," So they sent it to me, and I'm on the couch, and I'm playing it on my stupid little phone speakers, and I heard it for like a minute. I was like, "Oh shit, I got an idea!" So I run downstairs, turn on my computer, and I had this like piano melody that I heard, and I go, check it out. I sent it to him that night, same thing, like, yeah, that's cool, and that's just how it works. We just bounce ideas off and have fun with it. Yes. And then all of a sudden, this, like I said, the stars aligned where Chris ends up moving to New York. We're now like, this project just keeps evolving to the point where like, we really could do live shows now that we have Chris, right here in New York. So I don't know. It's just been, like I said, it's like knowing your destiny. It's been fate. It's like this whole project has been nothing but fate and fun. That's all I can say,
Love it.
Yeah. Amazing. And how is the touring plan look for you guys this year?
Well, George will be probably touring right with Disciples, but this project we have to finish an album. We won't be doing any kind of touring or anything yet. I mean,
right.
It's like one step at a time. We don't even have like actually a full-time singer yet. You know, we've had up until this point, we've had guest singers like Dan and Jay, and Chaka was on the first single we released.
Yep, Chaka from Orange 9mm. Yep.
Yeah.
Burn.
You know, we're getting there. I mean, Chris and George are probably the first to be touring with their other projects before this project tours, you know.
Well, I think I could get us a gig down at the Pig Poke, and we could wow our family and close friends.
Let's go.
Yeah. The Moose Lodge open down here too.
So I got a barbecue place up the street, 82 Barbecue, and they have bands in the summer out on the driveway there, and where everybody parks out there. So we can set up and play there anytime you guys.
Yeah. Oh, you could be like that. What about that band that drives around in the van? Like they have their equipment in the van.
Oh yeah.
And they open up the doors.
Awesome.
They open up the doors and they just jam right there in front of like big shows. Like they'll pull up to a metal show and then they open up the van doors.
I saw that.
Just, crank the PA and start wailing away in front of the crowd.
That is great. What an awesome concept.
Like swim the van?
Chris, the only problem is I don't think we could fill your rider for that.
Hey, you know what we do, man? I just put the drums on top. You can just strap me to the top like an elk.
Yeah. Great concept.
Like a mattress on top. Just bungee cord me on top of the van, and I'll just ride around like that. Get like bugs in my teeth.
Talking about Periphery, I remember their very first
I
tour.
love where you're at.
They bought a van, and they basically framed out bunk beds inside the back of the van. That's all they did. They traveled in that van. They slept in it. They had their gear in it. I was like, we're I don't know. I don't think we could do that. We're not at the
I don't think so.
I did a tour. I did a tour in a converted, those little mini buses that like the shuttle when you go get your rental car.
Yeah.
This guy took one of those, and his name was Jerry, and he got a bunch of money, bought one of those things, and he gutted it, and he put bunks in it, and then put a partition in the back with a place for the gear, so you didn't have to have a trailer, so you could go more than 55, right? And you could have it all. You wouldn't have to worry about your stuff getting ripped off. But anyway, and then they put a little front lounge in it. They put a stereo in it, the big flat screen TV, the whole thing, and none of it worked. None of it worked, including the air conditioner or the heater. And we did it during the winter, and we were crossing the Sierra Nevada mountains with no heater. And then all of a sudden the heater worked, and the driver was up front, and he had the heater, and it wasn't working in the back. So he had the heater cranked, trying to get the heat back to us in the bunks in the back. And I went up, we stopped at a bathroom, and it's January, and he's in his underwear because he's so hot. He's drenched with sweat, and he's trying to get heat back to us in the back. It was, and then one of the guitar player opened a window to try and get some air in, and the window just disintegrated into the van. Oh God. Great. It was just, and we kept calling the guy like, hey man, like we stopped for gas, and we went to turn the thing on, and the battery was dead. And then we called the guy, we're like, hey Jerry, the battery isn't working. He goes, did you jiggle the cable? We're like, no, we'll try that. Okay, jiggle the cable. It starts up, but we're like, no, let's get a new battery. Got a new battery. We went to the next place. Stereo stops working. Hey, Jerry, the stereo's not working. Just jiggle that cable. That'll work, So we jiggle the cable, and we get the flat screen TV. It's not working. Hey, Jerry, flat screen's not. Hey, just jiggle that cable. That'll work just fine. Yeah.
I'll pass on it. I'd rather play at the Pig Poke.
The cable tour.
Play the Pig Poke down the street and drive there. I'm fine with that.
Here you go. I'll give you my scariest tour story. So we had like a 1985 Winnebago. It had a 350 in it. Anyway, we were doing a whole United States tour. We're in the northern hills of California on our way to Oregon. Now, if you ever drive in California in the northern hills, there's no street lights whatsoever. Straight downhill S curves like this.
Oh yeah.
I'm driving. Okay. It's a 24-foot Winnebago. We got a 10-foot trailer or 12-foot trailer on the back. I'm driving downhill, like 2:30 in the morning. All the lights go out. The headlights, no lights. Close your eyes. That's what I see. I'm going downhill around an S-turn. The only thing I could do is scream like a bitch. Ah! And step on the brakes.
Holy shit.
I had my foot. Now, if you ever drove a 20, that's 32 feet or whatever it was, a vehicle, that thing does not stop fast.
Wow.
Like it takes like a whole block to stop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going downhill around an S-turn, screaming at the top of my lungs. Everybody was sleeping except my drummer. He's in the passenger seat, shit-faced. I mean, shit-faced drunk. The only thing I could do was feel straight, step on the brake. And it did come to a stop. Thank God we didn't hit anything because I couldn't see anything. My eyes were pitch black. My manager gets up in the front and he's sitting in between the two seats and he's got a flashlight out the front window. And that's how I'm driving down the road.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
I thought we were dead. I really thought we were dead, man. It's a miracle that we didn't hit anything. I don't even know how I kept that thing straight or whatever.
Good job, George.
Complete.
Good job, buddy. Way to stay alive, kid. Good job.
Way to stay alive, baby.
I just
Holy
think story chills up my spine. You know what I mean? Like, wow.
Yeah.
Sucks like that,
story,
too,
Totally.
man. Break
Love
down
it.
the streets, man.
There you go. Nice, cool story for you.
Thank you. And do you guys plan to take this project for a long term?
I mean, as far as we're concerned, I think at this point, yeah. I mean, everything is working out great. We're having a great time doing it, and as long as people still like it. I mean, look, anything with any music, right? In order, if you love a band, if you like what they do, then you got to buy their stuff. You know what I mean? And follow them and share it, and share all. The more that somebody gets exposed, the longer they're going to stick around. You know what I mean? I don't think if Metallica sold 2 records and nobody showed up at the shows, then they wouldn't be here, right?
Yep.
So I think as long as there's interest in this project, as long as there's passion in this project, as long as we're passionate about it, it'll stick around, And as far as I see passion. I don't see anybody wanting to quit. We want to continue. We're hungry. We want to do stuff. You know what I mean? I got a ton of shit going on and I still fit this in. I could quit easily because I got other projects going on. You know what I mean? I got other things, but I haven't. Why? Because I like it. I love it. I think what we create is unique. I think what we create is fun. I think people think it's fun. Our interviews are fun. As you can see, we have fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like a big metal
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
Have you listened to this single or watched the video at all or anything? What do
It
you
encompasses everything.
think? I
Yes,
want to get your opinion. Huh?
yes, it was amazing. Like the song was totally amazing. I enjoyed the single. Thanks to you guys for that. Great music
Thank
from
you.
you guys.
Thank you.
Very cool. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
So like,
Thank you, Keith. Thank you.
I think another thing is like, this isn't this project right here is not a business for us. You know what I mean? Like we're not solely into this to make money. This is not, this is again, a passion thing, man. We just really enjoy it, and that's really what music was all about, man. Why do you play guitar?
Yeah. You know what? This weekend I watched the
You
movie.
enjoy
It's
it.
out on Netflix right now. It's called Metal Lords, right? And it took
That movie's great.
it took me right back to when I was a kid, man. And I was like, this was my childhood, man. This is what it was. We loved metal. We just started bands and started playing in our high school talent shows and all this stuff. And that's how it all started, and now it's like it's all come back to 180 where we have a project where like we could care less about anything other than having fun and writing really good tunes,
Not that I'm saying much, I'm just hanging out. These guys have so much to say, and I just like listening, really, because you know, me
I'm
and
the
Chris
same
and Joe, we're very new to each other, you know, so I'm just hearing these guys. I know Greg and George forever, like whatever. Call them, yeah, like normal.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
definitely,
I love them. I love them. You know, I love them with all my heart. They're brothers. But
You know that.
I had respect to Dan too, because I remember, you know, hearing the song before Dan did his,
Hey, Chris.
and like it just it changed the whole song when we got Dan, and George knew it because George knew Dan, you know, and he knew what he could do, and he knew something was missing from the song, you know. So when he hooked up with Dan and they recorded it, it was like it was the missing piece was there, you know. He made the song complete. It was not complete without him. And I remember we worked a little bit on the chorus too, like we tweaked the melody a little bit in the chorus, and Dan nailed that, and just like that was it, man. So I never met Dan, but like just a lot of respect for what he does, and I thank him because the song would not be what it is without him. I mean, he
well,
really.
thank you, Joe. You know, I felt like my job was like, I didn't know really what my job was going to be till I got to George's, and he was like, hey, man, this is the tune, and like, let's listen to it, and you know, what do you see what you want to do on it? And like, I just basically just figured, let me heighten the melodies, man. Let me bring them out some more. Let me add a little. Let me just add an extra dimension to what Jay's doing. Try to complement what Jay was doing. You know, so I mean, we sat, I figured out his vocal, I figured out his lyrics and all that stuff. And it's easy to work with George because, like George says, we've done plenty of time together, recording and otherwise. So, you know, it's easy peasy, man. I get in there. He's like, okay, you know what to do. I'm like, yeah, I slap my headphones on and we just go ahead and, like George says, we throw shit to the wall and see what sticks. So it really stuck right the fuck away. It was like, boom, okay, cool, do this part. Boom, okay, cool, do this part. Boom. I think I tried one thing over twice and everything was just kind of like, boom, you know, and I just layered it. I did what I had to do. And it just came out really cool, dude. You know, I was super happy to be a part of it.
Got like some freaking set of pipes, man, like the like the screams and everything. I mean, but then you can sing the melodies too. So you know, all those things like made the song, you know, what it is. It finished it. You know, it was not finished until you were on it. So great job.
I'm glad I could add the extra dimensions, man. You know what I mean, and round it out, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's definitely full. It sounds great. I love it. Sounds really cool. Cool tune, man.
It grows from there. It grows from there.
I got to get more coupons to get him to do another song.
Well, you got to get him from Chris.
You don't
Chris
need
is like the
coupons.
Groupon king of Chicago, man. He knows it all.
You don't need any coupons, George. You just keep sending me tracks, buddy, and I'll figure it out, man. We go from there, but my friend.
Yeah, but Chris wants a Groupon. He's like crazy like that. I
If
don't
you
know.
want one just to have it for posterity's sake, just like to, you know, hang on to it. Okay, like whatever. Archives, like beginning of the archive. You got to do a swim the current archives, don't you? Better get started there, Greg. It's your baby. Your baby, brother.
I'll get there.
It's your baby.
Wonderful. And do you guys plan to make more music videos before the release of the album?
Definitely. We'll definitely make more music videos. You know, the other one's a green screen. So, you know, it's just convenient because everybody is in different locations. Like Jay is in Nashville and, you know, Chris being up at the North Pole there. You know, Greg, myself, and Dan are centrally located to one another, like I said. So the green screen stuff makes it easy. Everybody has a green screen, so it's, you know, not hard to do the green screen stuff, you know. So we'll definitely make some more music videos, and hopefully we can get together and do an actual one, you know, in person.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That's amazing. And would you be releasing a lot of singles before the release of the album, or you're gonna keep it until the release of the album?
I mean, in my opinion, you know, being an artist and somebody who's out there, you know, like I think it's a singles world, right? You know, so I have no problem releasing albums as singles, you know. To me, I think, you know, when we write, we kind of want to keep it, you know, with the thought process of everything's a single, right? You know, you want every track when you listen to a record to be the single. You know, there's no more, you know, this isn't 1990 where, you know, hey, we're just going to throw this record together and then we'll have 2 songs that are singles, you know, and those sell the most copies. I think every song you want to create a single. You know, you want that to be the single, you know. So I think with that mindset, every song's a single, you know.
All my fillers,
I
you
love
know,
it.
everything's a hit.
The whole single and video approach, you know, together for promoting too, because like I read a stat recently where like Spotify uploads like 60,000 singles like a day. I mean, it's like music overload. How do you stand out? So as a new artist like us, like a new band, if we were to release a whole entire album, we spend all this time and energy on it. I mean, and nobody knows us. It's like George said, it's more of a singles world now. So if you put one song out, a video to go with it to have that visual promotion, and then it just builds from there, you know, and until you build a decent following, I don't think it makes sense to put out a full length album all at once.
Well,
you know?
I also think, you know, there's other reasons why I have behind it. I mean, it's like if you look, like you were saying, Spotify and stuff like that, right? So, and Joe had mentioned that, you know, there's a single. If you release an album on Spotify, right, every single one of those songs gets released at the same time. Okay. Now, the way Spotify works is that if you release a song, you cannot re-release another song as a single, right? You can't. The whole entire album will be on Spotify with no single usage. Now, in today's day and age, radio is kind of being burnt out a little bit. I'm not going to say it's irrelevant or not useful. It is, but at the same point, you know, playlisting is everything, right? You know, to be on certain playlists. Now, in order to get a song on, you know, many playlists, you have to release it as a single. That's how you're going to get the mileage out of it. And I think, you know, like Joe said, this being a new band and creating that buzz and that following and stuff like that. You know, names don't do it alone. You know what I mean? Just because somebody's name's on your record doesn't mean it's going to be a hit single, you know? So you got to put the footwork in, you got to put the work in. We got to do the interviews. We got to, you know, put the singles out there, do the videos, you know, we do the playthroughs and stuff like that. And so I think, you know, that being said, the singles are the way to go, you know, in my eyes. You know, maybe I'm wrong, you know what I mean?
No, you're right.
You know, my band is signed to a record label, you know, we're signed, and, you know, I think they're going to kind of put the record out, but they got a different approach, you know. So I think, you know, for the DIY kind of thing, which this is, for the most part, you know, we're not signed to any label. We don't have major backing or whatever. So, you know, a DIY thing, single thing, I think is a real part of today's music.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
should have clarified that. That's what I meant, because we're a DIY group, right? So like it's different when like with George being signed to a label with his other project. Of course, you're going to put out a full length album, you know, when you're signed to a label like that. But you know, there's a lot of people today like us with this project that are DIY, and it just doesn't make sense to put out a full length album until you build enough of a following. And you know, little by little, it is building here. So we're going in the right direction, and we plan on forging ahead in that direction. So
amazing. And you have already stated that your album is to be released before the end of the year. Do you have other plans in this year?
I mean, I think, you know, this year is really just going to consist on writing, you know, and producing these singles, you know. Again, you know, up until this point, we were so, like, it wasn't really a band, you know what I mean? And so I think now that we pretty much have solidified that after this single came out, that this is actually going to be a band. You know, Chris was kind of just a hired gun, you know, in the situation. Hey, Chris, you want to do on this track? Kind of like we did with, you know, the singers that we were doing. Not, you know, per se, not a hired gun, but you know what I'm saying? Like an extra, you know. and Joe was at the very beginning too, you know. So it's kind of just evolving, you know. We were evolving as a project, and now we've evolved into a band. So, you know, the next step is to evolve into, you know, a live act, you know. That's the next progression in this, you know, whole scenario, you know.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Just something that happened naturally and organically. It's not like anything was planned. The only thing planned was like, let's write some great music and have fun. That was it.
Yeah,
Now it's
you're
just,
right.
that's right. I mean, that was it.
Yes, 100%. Rigatoni and meatballs, right?
That's it. Rigs and balls.
And rigs and balls.
Greg comes up with the best working titles before these songs are released. The titles of
Keith, I think I spoke with you before. Didn't I speak with you before? Oh, did I speak with
you? Right.
Yes, you did.
Right? We're disciples of Verity, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And guys, can you tell me how did you come up with the name Swim the Current?
Swim the current.
Go, Greg.
Oh, here we go. Here I am. I'm on stage. It's something that I pulled out of the blue. I mean, I live about, and I've said it before, about 2.3 miles from the beach, from the ocean, and everything for me comes in waves, man. It's just I'm always waving in motion, and here I am, like, you know, in the very beginning of everything before we are now speaking as one, as Voltron. It just felt like an electrifying way of putting together music, you know. Swim the currents. Let's swim. Let's make music swim. Let's swim our current together. Let's find the right people. And we have found the right people to make it work. And we're all together as one.
Chris, is that true what he just said? 'Cause I don't... Chris,
That's how I feel.
what about Chris? Is that right? What he said?
Oh, dude, why would you question it, man? 'Cause I love you.
Oh, Chris is
Hold
not
on to me.
anymore.
Hold on to me.
Damn, Chris isn't here anymore. All right.
Chris,
The name of the band makes sense too for the way that it's going, right? Because we started out just kind of like wading in the water, and now we're just kind of swimming the current, and it's like letting it take us wherever it goes, and it's
wherever
like
it goes, and we're all together in the same boat. It's like swim the current, but like again, you know, it's just waves in motion, man. Swim the current. We all come together. We come together as one.
Flow as one.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I feel. I mean, I don't know if it makes sense, but it was just a word that, you know, or a phrase that I conjured out of the blue that means something that just embodies or embraces everything that we are all about.
That's because you swim all currents, Greg. You swim electrical currents, water currents, fucking air currents, earth currents, universal soul vibe currents, energy currents. My brother, you're on the right shit. You know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I got you, dude. I'll translate.
As you guys know me, I'm all over the place, but I'm there to be, you know what I mean? Like, we're all there.
he's the riff meister, man. He comes up with the coolest riffs
I come up, thanks, Joe. I come up with riffs, and what it comes down to, if it wasn't for you guys, I would not, or we would not solidify the vision that we embrace. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, when I'm down there with George in the studio, in his laboratory, he brings it to a new level, man. You know, you guys are next level players, and we wouldn't be where we are without you guys.
Thanks.
Greg is the one who brought us all together, though.
You did, yeah.
Well, I tried, and thank you to you. I mean, it's a full embodied and embraced. I can't believe it, because George pulls he just takes it from like all different angles, sets it down. When I'm there, when I'm with him, I just can't believe what he pulls out of me, you know, to bring it to everybody to hear.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Hear what I hear.
That's what a good producer does, right? I mean, they bring
Well,
out your ideas in the best way. So a good producer.
well, yeah, and then we'll input you. And it's like you just bring it full circle. I can't believe it. The first time I heard you play, Joe, I said, "Oh my God,
Thanks, brother.
I want Joe to be a part of this."
Thank you.
And I cannot believe that we are here now within this realm of time that you are a part of it.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's because you guys are such good people too, right? Like you could be the greatest
Unbelievable.
musicians in the world, but if you're like douchebags, I would have been like, I'm not working with these guys. See you later, you know. But
No,
you're such good people, and we have so much fun together. It's like, just all works.
then we
That's
can put
like,
well,
you know, I always said like the hardest thing to do when you're in a band is to keep it together.
Yep.
Ding, 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 ding. No shit.
right.
The thing to do is to keep a band together.
Yeah, we lost a couple bands together, George. You
Yeah,
know,
you guys have been
we
down
lost
some
a few
roads,
bands together.
man.
We know about that shit. And with camaraderie
Yes,
and
you have.
chemistry, that is the fucking key. Camaraderie and chemistry.
Camaraderie.
All right.
Well, now that Dan's aboard, man, forget it. It just brings a full circle as well. Now we got Chris. It's unbelievable. It just makes me feel like I just feel like I'm part of, you know, the whole realm of everything, man. Thank you to all you guys.
Thank you, Greg.
Wonderful.
Dude, I'm coming over. I'm on my way.
All
Give you a
right.
big hug.
Shit.
I'm sleeping over.
I was leaving over. Give me out of the fucking shit.
Hell yeah. No,
Nice.
but overall, I mean, you know, getting down to like the laboratory end of it. I mean, when I'm down there with George, I mean, it's unbelievable, man. He pulls a lot of good things because George knows me by now. I'm all over the place when it comes down to like Riffmeister, yeah, but he brings it together, and he
Sometimes
knows.
Feel Greg in, you know what I mean? He has something really, really good and amazing, or an amazing riff. But you know, sometimes it might be a fleeting thought, so you got to hold them up and stop him, go rewind him, and you know, bring him. You know, because
Right.
sometimes his fleeting thought, actual working a piece that just needs to be captured, and he just doesn't see it maybe, and so I have to you know, elaborate on what he's doing, or maybe I just, you know, a lot of the times, you know, it'll be a back and forth thing, you know, and you know, he'll grab that and he'll give me an idea, and I'll be like, let me see that guitar, and then I'll play it, and then he'll see something out of what I play, and then it kind of is like a feeding force, like feed off of one another until it, you know, transforms into, you know, and you know, look, everything's not golden, you know what I mean? I mean, he may paint a picture that everything's golden and everything's perfect all the time. It's not, you know. Sometimes we might write an entire song and then I, you know, tell Greg the next day, I'm throwing it out. I don't like it. Sucks.
Right. And that's the best part about
You
it,
know?
because I don't take offense to it at all, because I know the end result is going to be great, and we work it together. We respect one another within that, and that's the gold right there.
You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Sometimes I smash the
So
shit
you
out
learn
of
how to make an omelet without breaking the fucking egg. You can just make the omelet, you know. But you
No.
got to break
That's
them
the
first to
best
get
part
there.
of the
You
process.
do got to break them first to get there.
I
And
got
it
to
takes a
smash
while.
a few eggs,
Again,
maybe a few dozen.
You make
again,
good eggs, George. That's bullshit. You make some good eggs. I've been in your house, okay? I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't see you making no fucking eggs and you're making an omelet all hungover at your house. But whatever, good with the egg
no,
thing.
but getting
I
back,
hear you.
getting
Know what
back
he's
to the
saying.
process. I mean, getting back to the process. That's the best part about what we're all about, right there. It's everybody works well with one another. The chemistry, like I don't leave his house on my 40-minute ride home. Every 2 or 3 days from now. It's we make it work, and I'm like, dude, that's great. He pulled this out of me. I pulled it out of him. He worked it. I worked it. I just sent the guitar back and forth. It works.
Everybody plays a distinct role in the band, and everybody knows their
Right.
role. Everybody respects each other. Everybody likes each other, and that's how it works. It makes everything go smoothly.
I love it.
I think if we didn't get along as people, even as good as the music is, it would never work. It wouldn't go anywhere. It's like I met George first at all these guys because it was just at the NAMM show. Like it was like 3-4, probably like 4 years ago, and I just a good friend of mine who, like, I gotta give him a plug here, man. The Butcher Shop.
Yes.
Butch
Yeah.
Jones, man. He's like the king of metal, man.
Awesome.
And I was there for Music Man, and George was there at the DR booth because he was endorsed by DR Strings. And my buddy was the A&R guy for DR. So I walk over and he's like, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. This is George Pond. He's one of our artists, and we ended up spending the whole weekend together, just having fun, man. We were just like laughing, having a great time.
Partying.
What's that?
We were just partying. We were
Right,
going from show to show partying. I had a blast
I
with
had
you.
no idea. Like, I never heard any of his music. He never heard any of mine. But then we just became like friends over the weekend. So we hit each other up on social media, and I'm posting music. He's posting music. And then, out of nowhere, he's like, "Hey, man, I listen to your stuff." And he's like, I got some stuff I want to send you. I'm working on this project. You want to play on it? And I was just floored. And when he sent me the first Disciples of Verity stuff, I was like, I said, you did this? You produced this? He's like, yeah, I did it in my studio. I was like, holy crap, man, this guy is good.